Avengers. I'll be presenting the topic Prodigy, improving the memory latency of data in direct regular workloads using hardware software co-design. So this is the outline of my presentation. So let's move on to the problem identification. So as we know, like we live in the world where like every day quintillions of data is produced, and so we have to process that data, and many of these irregular algorithms are like widely used in several applications like social media, machine learning or genomics, etc. And so these are too big to fit in on chip caches. So like it costs like several costly DRAM accesses. And so as we can see from this graph, so two-third of the execution time, uh, it is from the memory system, like DRAM stalls. So it's a primary source of a bottleneck, like uh, primary source of slowness of the this core. So what the author has proposed, like I'll in this slide I'll give you a high level idea of Prodigy. So it's a software hardware co-design, and there is a specialized contract in between software and hardware that software captures the program semantics using the compiler that they have designed, and it pass it on those pass it on using this specialized contract to the hardware, and hardware is like a programmable prefetcher. So the goals of the presentation are goals of the paper are prefetch all the irregular memory accesses, and which will cost which will cost negligible hardware, and there should be no programmer intervention. So the first part of the model is like software programming model. So what type of irregular memory accesses that they have considered? Let's see those first. So there are two types of data indirect memory accesses. First is single valued indirection, and second is arranged indirection. So single valued indirection is the data structure of the type like B of A of I, and it accesses like a single value, single vertex of the next data structure. And in ranged data, as you can see from this image, it accesses the series of data structures. So it's a arranged indirection, and Prodigy accepts both of these indirect memory accesses. So let's move on to this specialized like interface, specialized contract called DIG, data indirection graph. So it's just a compact representation of program semantics. As we can see from this image, it's a directed weighted acyclic graph, and it gathers information from software or the code and pass it on to the hardware, and it saves the information in terms of nodes and weighted edge, which represent which I'll explain in the next slide. So DIG data indirection graph nodes are uh, it stores just like data structure, shape, and size, and DIG edges represent what type of indirect access it accesses, those I have explained earlier, the single valued indirection and ranged indirection. There is one more type of, there are two types of edges, single valued and ranged indirection, but there is also one more type of edge that is used in the programming model, that is a trigger edge, which triggers the prefetching sequence. So how do we construct this DIG graph? So first method that they have mentioned is programmer annotations. So it just like as we can see, let's consider this workload A. So it contains this that I have shown in red. It's just a single valued data indirection, and in blue it is ranged indirection, and that is converted to dig using nodes and edges. And so programmer, the author has given some API calls that the programmer can use to annotate his program manually, and he can identify what are the nodes and what are the edges, and he can just manually put it in the source code. So this is the programmer method of constructing a dig. So to lift this is like it's a cumbersome task, and it's extra task for the programmer, and to lift this burden they have designed compiler, LLVM compiler, and that directly like it's a two-step process. First it will like identify what are the uh, indirect like memory accesses, identify indirections and program semantics, and it places the API calls in the in terms of annotated binary. So as we can see here, so this is how compiler generates the annotated code. And so this annotated code that is from either from a programmer or from compiler analysis is fed to the runtime library, which converts it into the bunch of store instructions, which is fed further to Prodigy hardware. So this is where the software part ends, and we'll move on to the hardware design.
One
So
question:
yeah.
why store instructions?
Sir, it's instructions for like prefetching
So then that should be
instructions to the hardware.
yeah, but why in the form of store instructions?
Yeah, so this doubt I also had. It could have been in load instructions, but the paper they have mentioned store instruction.
Are you communicating some information to a specific address?
Uh, no, sir. This information is saved in like the memory structures, SRAM memory structures, and by using that data, prefetches the
Okay, I think
future
that's why it is
accesses.
called store. I think it's a it's a store for that hardware structure where you
Okay.
are storing this.
Oh, right, right, right. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So, any other question? Otherwise I'll move on to hardware design. Okay. So let's move on to hardware, programmable prefetcher design. So, like these are familiar terms. The sequence demanded by the core is called demand sequence, and sequence prefetched by the prodigy is a prefetch sequence. And so what are the memory structure or like memory requirement to hold on to all the like DIGs? So so author has proposed these three main memory structures. First is node table, in which all the node details are stored. And then second is edge tables, in which there are two tables: edge index table and edge type table. In edge type table, there is source node address, and there is destination node address. And in edge type, we can describe the type of edge, that like single valued indirection, or trigger edge, or ranged valued indirection. So these are the memory structures to hold the dig. And then there is one more additional memory structure called PFHR file, prefetch status handling register file, uh, which is needed to for us to keep the keep track of live prefetch sequence. And it also facilitate us for non-blocking prefetching sequence, like it our past prefetching sequences doesn't get lost due to this PFHR file. So this is the structure of this PFHR file, in which we there is also the option of if this particular prefetch sequence is free or not.
Can
So
you explain the last point, the non-blocking one? I could not get it.
yes, sir. So, like there are multiple. prefetch sequences, right? And and there are like hierarchical cache levels. So there could be uh, there could be a point कि some data arrives earlier than the other, and
Yeah,
non-blocking in the
but
sense कि
go
it
on.
doesn't concern कि you have to prefetch all the previous sequences before prefetching the future address. So it can prefetch the
Okay.
future address without being concerned about past prefetches. So for that
So what do you mean
keep
by
it stable.
without being concerned about past addresses? Like technically, what does it
With,
mean?
without being concerned about like past prefetches, they are prefetched or not.
Okay.
Yeah, like
But
that.
but why is it a big deal?
Like in graph data structure,
What
like
no no what will
there
happen
could
if
be.
I yeah, what will happen if I don't have this PFHR or if I don't support this non-blocking prefetching? What will I lose?
Like the if like some of the past prefetches are important, like data dependent addresses or something like that, and that those could get lost or overwritten. And if we like keep the live track of each prefetch sequence, so we have like we know their status, like it can't get lost.
Not clear, but anyway, move on.
I have a here as well. So,
Yeah.
is it similar to that of MSHR? Um, in
That's
terms
what
of
he's saying. That but why you need such structure for prefetching?
um,
Sir, actually, they mentioned that if the code catches up to the prefetch sequence, then they have also have to drop the old outstanding prefetch sequence. So for those, the managing all these things, the table is.
Got it, got it, got it, got it. Yeah, it's just a it's a race, right? It's a time race.
Hmm.
So it depends on how aggressively or proactively you are prefetching well ahead of the demand sequence.
Yes, sir.
Is that correct? So with non-blocking, you are making sure that okay, if suddenly the prefetch sequence is kind of aligned with the demand sequence, right? Then you
Yes,
can
sir.
just drop them and then start prefetching the future sequences.
Yes, sir. There is like this PFHR file is also
Okay.
used for like dropping some of the sequences.
Okay, okay, got it, got it, got it.
but
So let's
also,
move on.
uh,
Yes.
can it lead to this pollution due to prefetch, or is it made sure that all the prefetches are correct, or something that is anyway needed in the future?
Actually, it takes a feedback from load requests, and so like if the prefetched data or is not needed, so it drops from this table,
No, I'm
invalidates.
not concerned about accuracy. So I think what Yasika is asking is what if that's kind of useful. But if the demand request has already arrived, there is no notion of prefetching, right? It anyway will be demanded from the memory. So you are kind
Yeah,
of late.
demand request is it's not yeah, timeliness. So like at the start of the operation, uh, like it just initializes multiple prefetch requests, and then in the advanced phase, it like catches up to the this course timeliness. So at first there will be some hiccups, but in the steady state, the author has mentioned it works properly.
Okay.
So let's move on to the prodigy operation. That like it's just like a state machine which consists of two operations: prefetching sequence initialization algorithm and prefetching sequence advanced algorithm. So initialization algorithms like starts when a trigger event occurs, like trigger node, and sorry trigger edge, and this this particular node have information of like prefetch bounds and prefetch direction. So it prefetches multiple prefetch sequence at once and selectively like drops some of the prefetch sequences, and this is to ensure ki we achieve timeliness in the steady state. And it makes use of heuristics to determine the prefetch look ahead distance. So this is the initialization. So let's move on to the prefetch sequence advanced algorithm. So in this, like as I have mentioned earlier also, Prodigy can access this single valued indirection and ranged indirection. So it's just the repetition. So yeah, this is the Prodigy operation. Um, this is prefetch sequence initialization. In the first step, let's say the core demands like load 0x100, and so it snoops onto this L1 data cache bus, and prefetch address is generated using this lookahead distance and this data size, and prefetch request is like PFHR is allocated and prefetch request is sent to the memory, and so that prefetch request has come into the cache. After that, let's say another miss happens for this load operation. So then in the same like in the same sequence, this prefetch sequence advanced algorithm operates. So new PFHR, new prefetch request generated, and like new PFHR register is allocated, and in this pattern we go up to the leaf of this graph, or like a DIG, a graph of leaf of DIG. So this PFHR is allocated to only non-leaf nodes, and this is how this operation happens. Prodigy works. So let's move on to the evaluation methodology. They have used a Sniper simulator, 8-core system, 3-level cache, 16 MB LLC, and they have given several workloads, including graph algorithms, sparse linear algebra kernels, and some like scientific kernels as well. And so these are the results. So optimal PFHR file size that they have come up to the conclusion is 16 uh, by using this these results, and this is the results for performance. And as we can see, this is compared to the baseline non-prefetching core. So as we can see that there is like more than 2.66 speed up on average, and there is a reduction in 80% of the DRAM stalls, and 65% of the branch stalls are also reduced. This is the like branch stalls are reduced. This side benefit of this prefetcher, because like branches are also getting like executed correctly due to the correct data is there in the cache. That's why. So also there is one point like significant energy savings on an average. That is also due to like a reduction in DRAM stalls and reduction in branch penalty. And this is also like 85.1% prefetchable LLC misses are like converted into cache hits. So prefetch is effective. And these are some of the comparison with the previous works like Ainsworth and Jones, IMP, Droplet, and as we can see, it is significantly like performing higher than these current methods, the current state-of-the-art prefetcher designs. And this is the storage overhead. It just needs like 0.8 KB of the like storage overhead and a simple state machine to manage the Prodigy prefetches. So yeah, these are the conclusion. It's like it makes use of best of both worlds, like hardware and software, and the solution is effective, and it takes care of many workloads, like not just a graph, but many irregular workloads, and also it has like yeah, that's it. Yeah, it makes it can access both this single valued and ranged indirection patterns. Yeah, thank you. If you have any questions.
So I have a trivial question. So in the presence of PFHR, will the request
Uh,
go through MSHR?
uh, Sorry, sir. I'm not aware of MSHR actually. Uh,
You have read this paper, right?
yes, sir.
Yeah, this
They
paper
haven't.
must have mentioned MSHR.
If you could like long form.
Yeah, it's there in page number 6. Miss status holding registers.
Uh,
These are used for tracking misses, non-blocking misses in cache, right?
yes, sir. Oh,
Uh,
sorry, sir. I haven't.
Biswa, sorry to interrupt you, but every prefetch request has to go through MSHR, right? Otherwise, we
That's what
can't
I'm
put.
asking. That's what I'm asking.
Yeah. So I personally believe it has to go through MSHR. Otherwise, you can't store the entry back inside the cache.
Uh,
That is the basic design, but with this PFHR, why you need to send it through MSHR?
but
Any
it
other
just
group
takes care of
members?
prefetch sequences, right?
Yeah, I'm just
PFHR.
asking
Sir,
about
they have
prefetch request.
Sir Siddharth here. They have only mentioned MSSR just to compare it with the PFHR that they're introducing, saying that the PFHR is similar to MSHR. But it is like the Prodigy hardware is completely independent of the previous microarchitecture element. So
Got it.
uh,
That I got it. My question is, in the presence of PFHR, do you still need to send the prefetch request through MSHR?
yes, sir, because that is coming from demand. So
No,
uh,
prefetch requests are not demand, right? They are prefetch
no,
requests.
the core request will should go to MSHR.
I'm asking about the prefetch request. I'm not asking about demand request.
No, sir, they have not mentioned this explicitly, but
That's okay. That's
it
okay. Yeah,
should
they haven't mentioned that's okay. But
it should
you
not
guys can.
go to it should not go to MSHR because in Prodigy every time like one hop in the DH, like if we access B of A of I, if we get back the A of I successfully, then it makes a new entry in PFHR stating that next we need to access B of that fetched element. So that's why I don't think we need MSHR because PFHR itself is doing everything.
And I have mentioned it is analogous to like MSHR. PFHR is analogous to FPF. This MSHR.
Think about it. It's not that straightforward. But think and update me.
Yes, sir. I'll read about this and I'll update you.
Yeah, I think Varun, you had a data point, right?
Yes, sir.
You are suggesting something?
No, I wanted to ask a question. Like in graphs, since he said it is irregular data access patterns, so you tend to already access the main memory a lot. So the number of times you have bandwidth available for prefetching would be very less. So how come Prodigy is showing so much performance benefits?
There
It's
were a lot of
comparing
stalls, right?
like
If the
the
yeah, Govind, go ahead.
accuracy that they have mentioned is 65% accuracy.
Okay. Yeah, I think that
So
explains.
it's not like but
Yeah, Varun,
that the
it's okay, right?
comparison that
Yeah,
they have
65% accuracy is good enough, I guess.
I had since I had actually also gone through this paper a little bit. I just saw that there were a lot of LLC evictions also due to Prodigy. So I was just failing to understand. Suppose there is a node, or suppose there are a lot because these are sparse nodes, sparse graphs that they consider. So there will be certain nodes which will be connected to huge number of nodes. So in that regards, will Prodigy work or not? Means just the Means one extreme of when Prodigy can't work. I was thinking of such a scenario. Or is there any
Uh,
limitation?
in the paper that they have mentioned, na, it works for specific applications only, and if like some other type of data is there and this cache thrashing or something like that happens, this Prodigy turns off. It works for
Oh,
this
you stop Prodigy if there is high MPK, is it?
thrashing. Yeah, cache thrashing. If cache
Okay.
thrashing happens. And they have like mentioned one of the like weakness ki like data TLB contention will be there. So it,
But the numbers are huge. If you look at speed up of 7x, 8x.
yeah, compared to baseline, so without
Yeah,
prefetcher.
it's okay compared to baseline. So see, if I come up with the ideal cache hierarchy where everything is hitting, let's say at L1, even they're getting into, I have seen 2x, 3x, maybe in some cases 4x, 8x, which means that in the baseline, almost everything is going to DRAM. Do you have a miss rate plot for this CG and SPMB? Or the
Uh,
penalty plot? I think you had a penalty plot, right?
this LLC
Yeah,
misses.
yeah. No, this is saved by prefetching. Maybe the first one, the 65% stall wala thing. Initially you showed something, right?
Yes. This sir.
No. The final, sorry, the initial plot where you motivated for this Prodigy. The
Okay. Okay.
very first slide, if I am not wrong.
Yes.
So CG and SPMB, it's like 80%, right? Almost 80% of them are going to DRAM.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that
So
means
the
they are going
data
to
is like
DRAM.
that only. So for this
Oh,
CG
what is the cache size?
cache size, uh, they have mentioned 16 MB LLC, and L1 is 32
L1
kilobytes.
is immaterial here.
Yeah.
For graphs, we should not talk about L1. Okay. Okay, any other questions? Anyone? Yeah, otherwise you can move on.